I have had a stalker at the University of Alabama for the last 3 years, and it's so bad that I've gone to court over it. And I want to tell the story of like how it started, what I've learned from it, what I learned about the court system, all this stuff, but I'm really afraid. I've tried to post about it before and he's contacted me. So this is my testing video to see how it goes before I start actually telling the details of how insane it was. So if it goes well from here, I'll wait a couple days, see how it goes, see if he contacts me or starts following me, and if all is good, which it should be because I had to file a restraining order and take him to court and press charges, then I will say more about my experience in Tuscaloosa, and it really just fills in the picture for why I'm ready to GTFO. Okay, I have my pimple patch on, wash my face, but we're gonna do the part 2, which is actually just the introduction of part 1 of how I even met him. So it started in in the spring of my junior year, I think, of 2023. Basically what happened was I ran a trail marathon in Tuscaloosa County, and he was running the ultra version of it because it was like half marathon, 50K, 50 miler, I think were available. He was running the 50K. I was running the trail marathon, and we crossed paths. I said, hello, good job, because if you've run a trail marathon, you kind of know like the vibes are much chiller, I guess. Like everyone kind of interacts differently than they would in a full marathon. And that was it. That was it. Because the race was smaller, there was a Strava group, which if you guys don't know, like Strava is just an app where you can post about your running or like a lot of endurance activity, I would say. And we were in the same group. He started commenting on my post, and then from there on got my email and everything after that. The craziest thing is it started off with just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of emails, and I'll attach them like next video and like give a few examples when I get further into it. But it was something that was so out of the blue because it started as like comments on my Strava because we were in the same group that I thought were nice, and I was like, oh, this guy's like being really nice because I was like going through a hard time, whatever, just like feeling kind of down. And I was like, this is so nice, like he's being so supportive. And then LOL, he stalked me for 3 years. So I didn't know him. I didn't have any like physical relationship with him. I never went on a date with him. I never would consider himself a friend. I would never be able to place him outside of the fact that he is my stalker. And there's a bug on my ceiling. That is what made it hard for the legal issues of it. So yeah, that is the part 2/introduction to like how it even started. I did nothing. And it made it really hard to get people to believe me that I didn't do anything for it, because they were all like, well, you had to have done something, like you had to have dated him, you had to have like let him on. I was like, no, I didn't do anything. And there's an email where he admits to the fact that I probably don't know who he is, but he fully believes, I think still to this day, that we are in love. So yeah, I'll do more videos, go deeper into it, but that's the introduction for all of it.
Ready with me, but it's a day from hell in your junior year. You wake up, you did your hair really nice, but then you realize that it's pouring rain outside and the rain's not going to stop until right after you get home from school. So you're going to get soaked. It's the day after you and your boyfriend broke up. It's a Monday morning. You guys just broke up the night before. And not only did you guys break up, but you have class with him first period. You're holding back tears and you sit down in your seat, which is next to him because the teacher thought it was cute to sit you guys next to each other. And you both are very awkwardly talking to each other. Look over onto his phone, and the girl that he told you not to worry about in your relationship is snapping him. Not only is the girl snapping him, but the girl happens to be pinned on his Snapchat right underneath your pinned name, and you're confused. But then you notice that he goes on TikTok and you see that the girl and him have a streak. Then the bell rings for the next class, and you're literally holding back so many tears, and then the teacher tells you that you have a test and you forgot to study for the test. So then you take it, and as you're taking it, you get your period. So then you have to go to the bathroom, but when you stand up, there's like a tiny blood stain, so you rush yourself to the bathroom and try to clean it off with water. But when you put the water on it, it kind of spreads the blood around. So then you just say, fuck my life, and you go to lunch. But when you get to lunch, you realize that you forgot to bring your food. So then you have to get the cafeteria lunch, and it's really, really bad food, and they don't have anything you like. So you settle for an Uncrustable, but the Uncrustable is like low-key frozen. Go to your next class and you notice that somebody has DM'd you on Instagram a really weird update about your ex-boyfriend, even though it's only been 24 hours since the initial breakup. Not only right after they send you that, your ex-boyfriend texts you saying how much he loved you in the relationship and that you were the best girlfriend ever and that you're wife material and all this shit. Bell rings for dismissal, and as you're backing out of the parking lot, you hit another car and you dent their car. So then you have to go to the office and file a whole whatever because you hit the other person's car, and the person that you hit was a girl that you don't like. Then you go home and your whole For You page is like happy couples being so in love because you break up right around prom season. So now you don't have a date to the prom, but your whole For You page is just couples acting like they're so in love with each other. You go to charge your phone, but then you realize that you left your phone in first period. That night, you get a text and you realize that your ex had been cheating on you the whole time. You call him to try to assess the situation and it goes straight to voicemail and he's too scared to pick up the phone. Sinful, shameful. Finally, to make up for this really shitty day, you try to get DoorDash. When the DoorDash arrives, they give you the wrong order. Hell, but it's junior year. Get ready with me. You and your ex break up a month ago. He low-key cheated on you. You wake up at 3 a.m. and you suddenly get a text from your best friend as soon as you open your eyes, and it's a picture of him with another girl that he told you not to worry about, and he basically cheated on you with this girl. So then you're up until 4 a.m. just like feeling sick to your stomach because you're like, holy shit, did I just waste all this time with this person? And you're like, yes, I did. So then the next day you kind of process over everything and you decide to give him a call, to which he doesn't answer the phone. So then the next morning you text him and you go off on him saying that he's a fucking bitch and yada yada. And he apologizes, but you block him and tell him to go to hell, basically. Then while you're at school, if he walks past you at any point with his really immature best friend, they both start laughing at you. Not only that, but then you start to notice that you have a really weird skin condition, and it just goes because you're like not functioning at this point. You're really depressed, and just them laughing at you like doesn't help every single day, and having class with the person doesn't help. So then you're on your way home from a college tour with your dad and his wife, and you're just already irritated from the day. You have your period, like you just want to go home. You're kind of over it, like you're exhausted and you're just depressed. And you get a call while you're in the car with your parents, and you can read what it says before answering it, and it's somebody no caller IDing you, talking about how they're asking if you're the person's ex. So you pick up the phone and you say, what do you want? They start giggling and they're like, oh, are you this guy's ex? He's been talking shit about you. So then you're like, yeah, I am. And they start asking questions, so you just answer a couple of them and then you hang up the phone. But then you realize, like, that's kind of weird. So you have to send the voicemail to your ex-boyfriend. So you send it to him, and he starts making up some blah, 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 that it's not him and it's not his friends and whatever, and that he's going to fix this. He couldn't even fix his behavior, so there's no hope. So then that night, you go to a party, and you're trying to forget about everything going on. And you kind of realize that you have free will. So you go on Snapchat, and you add a bunch of guys on Snapchat, but none of them add you back. So you're feeling like an airball. And then at school, you have to hear all these unnecessary updates about your ex-boyfriend, even though you really don't want to know, and you don't want to be involved with that anymore. Then it's the end of the year, and you realize that you have to do school a whole other year for senior year, and you think that senior year is going to be better, but it's not better.
Clear up a little bit of the confusion. All of this happened last year. Only some of the things I said in the video actually happened. Part 2 that I made is a true story, but that was all a year ago, and life has gotten so much better. So if you're in a toxic relationship, break up with him.
Storytime
about how my friends called the cops on my mom. I already put the foundation on. I'm sorry, like, and skin prep and everything, guys. I'm so sorry, friend, but this is story time. No hate to nobody involved. I think the story is funny now, and I just want to tell it. It's so, like, looking back, the story is, like, really, really funny. I take you to the year of 2021. Or was it 2022? I don't know. Stop asking so many fucking questions. I wanted to have a big sleepover with my friends, and I've been telling my mom about it for, like, a few weeks. Day before, she says, I don't want friends coming over here. Okay, great, thanks. So then the next day, after I already told everyone not to come, she comes into my room like, when the fuck are your friends getting here?
You just said that you...
But, like, whatever the fuck, like, function back on. I text all my friends, like, it's gonna be a lit function. The plan was that they stayed all weekend, like, Friday to Saturday to Sunday, like, yeah, my house was gonna be the hotel. So since this was indeed 2021, they were all my cosplay friends, and like we were all dressing up, like we went to the park, like we got some Dairy Queen. No, not Dairy Queen. Shut the fuck up. We got some Friendly. Then we went back home. It was a chill night, like night one, a success. 2 girls fell asleep in my room, and then I slept in the room with my other friend. And see, for y'all, I had a crush on this friend at this time. So I was just in the room with Bae. Not Bae no more. Next morning, fresh off the wake up, cosplay again. Like, we didn't even brush our teeth yet, and we already in a new wig. But these girls that I was with there were very, like, let's go outside in our cosplays. Like, we gotta go out. We gotta be outside in these cosplays. These were Danganronpa cosplays, mind you. Like, I was in Ibuki. Like, one girl was in Junko. One girl was Mikan. I don't know what the other... I think Chiaki. I think, like, the four basic cosplays. We go to the park. A baseball park. My tios were there. My mom's friends were there. The entire fucking family. My cousin was playing. Then there was another area of the park where it was like a long like field, like a football field. And guys, I promise that's not my nipple. It's just the way the shirt is. I promise I'm wearing a bra. We get to this park. People keep trying to say hi to me, but I'm really embarrassed because I'm in a fucking wig. My cousins are making fun of me. I don't want to talk about it. Baby, tell me why not even an hour we're there. We take off our wigs. We are not playing together. Like, how are y'all my friends? We not playing together. We're not playing together. We all go to separate areas of the park, and we are all hanging out with different groups of kids like our age, and we're having a time. Then at one point, we all met up, and we all gave each other like a recap as to what we were doing. Like, so we go back to doing whatever the fuck we were doing, and like 30 minutes or so later, I don't know, my grandma just comes fucking storming into the fucking park. Like, I was all the way on the other half of the field, and I could hear her screaming. She see me, I see her. Oh, I'm fucked. Bitch, you're fucking lying. She yelling, people are staring. Where the fuck is your mother? Did you come here with your fucking mother? Grab your fucking friends, we're fucking leaving. So, you ain't gotta tell me twice. I'm running around the park. I'm trying to find my friends. Mind you, we were all in different areas. I don't know where the fuck these girls are. One was in the woods. One was with a bunch of other kids. One was at the fucking park. Like, because there was like a playground there. Like, so we all get in the car, right? And we driving, whatever. I lied. We're not just driving. My grandma and my mom are already in the front seat. All 4 of us are packed in the back seat like this. Guys, when I tell you I was in the back of this car sobbing, and my friends, they were so sweet. They're so sweet. They were just trying to comfort me, and they were like, it's okay. Like, anyway, we get back to the house, and my mom and my grandma, they decide to go to the front of my house and start arguing. I just know them neighbors were being nosy as hell. Anyways, like, we're back in my room, and I'm crying. They're like, it's okay. Like, they're doing their best to comfort me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get you guys something to eat. Go to get something to eat. One of the girls followed me to the kitchen. He was really trying to, like, I think she was, like, in, like, who's that bald guy from Dexter? I think she was in that era. I think she thought that there was, like, more going on. So, you know, obviously I just finished fucking crying, so I look really upset, and she just looks like she's, like, trying to investigate me. I'm like, ooh, I'm scared. So, mind you guys, my mom was a little bit off the... So, after she finishes arguing with my grandma for, like, 30 fucking minutes, she calls me to go into the bathroom with her. She goes into the bathroom. She's on the toilet, talking, like, she's literally taking a shit and then talking shit. And so she's like, you like wearing them little wigs? I'm gonna teach you how to fight. I'm like, what? She like, yeah, because now someone in public come up to you, snatch your wig off, the fuck you gonna do? Cry because I'm gonna be standing there bald? I don't fucking know. While she's on, I just got the notification she's home. Okay. Oh, while she's taking this shit, she's swinging like on the toilet because I'm saying she's literally like swinging and I'm dodging it. And mind you, this was our old place, so our bathroom was literally a square, like, and tiny. And so the scale in the room, I tripped on it, made a loud pulls up her pants, and we're walking out the door, and it's just mad. Like, we're not like, I don't know. It's like, I'm in the bathroom. It was like her room, the bathroom, and then my room. So right where we were walking out, the girls who were in my room could see perfectly what's happening. I just added a few dots to my face. Sorry, I had to concentrate. The girls are screaming, get off of her, get off of her. Me and my mom get back to the room, and for some reason I remember us laughing. We were like, and then we realized what it looks like inside my room. One girl is standing in the middle of my room with a bat. I had a bat in my room as a cosplay accessory. Please don't ask. One girl is in the corner of my room crying. That was my French. My babe was in the corner crying. And then one girl was in my closet crying on the phone with the police. Guys, I was so confused. I immediately understood what they were thinking. Like the arguing and then loud bangs. I could see how they thought that. So the girl with the basket, turn the fuck away from her, get the fuck away from her, get the fuck away from her. And my mom's just on my bed like this. Watch who you're talking to, little girl. Like, that's really all she could say. And so my mom leaves to go out my room to call everyone's parents to say, y'all gotta come get y'all kids. While she opened the door, 2 cops are just right there. So after my mom leaves the room, I'm back in my room and I'm screaming at my friend. I'm like, if there was something happening, I would have told you. Like, I was genuinely screaming as the police were there. So they're just hearing a fucking screaming match. I used to hold this little antenna thing up with a butterfly clip, but I currently don't have any more of those, so fries up my ass. Anyway, so eventually everyone's parents came to pick them up, and the cops, they're talking to me, and they're like, has anything happened? I'm like, no, I just want to have a sleepover, and I just kept repeating, I just wanted to have a sleepover over and over and over again. And they're like, damn bitch, we fucking get it. And so then everyone leaves, and nobody is allowed to come back to my house, and then my mom hates every single one of those girls, so I'm not allowed to go to their house. I'm not allowed to be friends with them. I'm not allowed to communicate with them in school. Obviously I still talk to them in school. And I remember like one time I tried to joke with one of them about it, and they're like, we don't joke about that. Sorry friend, I thought we was laughing. I'm gonna keep doing my lashes. And I was not allowed to have sleepovers for a long time after that. Anyway, like, I'm not so close to these girls now, but I wish them all luck in their life and in the future. They all left cosplay behind them. I didn't. Okay, that was the story time. Let me know if you guys would want any more. Anyway, bye guys. Love you. Remember to eat food and drink water. Bye, bitches.
Who wants a story time? So we moved into a new house like 2 weeks ago. The first night that we were staying here, I open up our bedroom window because it's nice and cool outside, and I hear this noise. I'm gonna try to make the noise for you, but this isn't quite right. Something like that. I immediately have to investigate because that's who I am. I'm nosy. So I go outside and I'm listening for the noise, and it seems kind of far away. So I'm walking the perimeter of the house because I am going to get to the bottom of this. I'm like, I'm gonna call the non-emergency line because I don't know what's going on, but I want my bedroom window open and this noise is annoying me. So I call the non-emergency line. I'm like, what up, girl? There's something happening in our neighborhood. I don't know if it's an alarm. It wasn't going like wee wee like that or anything. I'm like, something's going off and it's bothering me. So if you could just send somebody out to maybe find where it's coming from. She's like, oh yeah, we'll send somebody out. I'm like, beautiful. Now also mind you, my mom and dad are in town helping us move. So I'm like, Dad, do you hear that noise? And he's like, yeah, I do hear it, but whatever. He's not as nosy as me. So he's like laying in bed. I'm like, I still feel like I need to get to the bottom of this. And where we live, the cops may or may not come. There's nothing going on where we live, so I don't know what they're doing. Bless them. Look at this. I love law enforcement, okay? I go back in the house, and then I'm like, I'm not satisfied. The nosiness inside of me is not satisfied. So I walk back outside. It's probably midnight. And I'm walking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think it's coming from my neighbor's house. So I walk over to their lawn, and it gets louder. I'm like, oh my gosh, it is their house. So I walk up closer to the door, and then that is when I can hear it like, wee, 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 wee. It just was, I don't know why it wasn't making that noise before, but it was making that noise. So then I call back the non-emergency line, and this is why. Because in their driveway, there is a car that has a license plate that says Mom Life. And I'm like, what if she is in that house, held hostage? And I hear it. Girl, she's lucky I didn't go. Well, she's not lucky, but people are lucky that I didn't bust up in that door and be like, Cammie's here to save the day. I call back, and I'm like, hey, this is most certainly an alarm, and it's coming from my neighbor's house. Her license plate says, it doesn't, her license plate isn't Mom's Life. It's like a front cover thing. The woman's like, okay, what's the address? I give it to her. She's like, can you look at her license plate number? I give that to her. My husband is like freaking out. He's like, you called the cops. The neighbors are going to hate us. Like, we're bringing the cops into the neighborhood. I'm like, what if she's trapped in there? Not even maybe 5 minutes later, if that, the popo rolls through. I'm out there, baby. I'm like, do you need backup, bud? I got your 6, all right? Or your 12, whatever it is, I got it. You want me to take your 3? Because I'm there. To his car, tell him what's going on. I'm like, look, I'm nosy, so I was just trying to figure it out. He's like, yes, got you. So he walks up to the door. He's like, yeah, it's an alarm definitely coming from that house. He's like, I knocked, nobody answered, but we can't do anything. And I'm like, how if there's an alarm going off in a house? Is that not like reasonable cause to enter the home? Because you think a burglar, if you're like, he's gonna be like, oh, hey, sorry, we're busy. I'm robbing her right now, so we can't come to the door. What? He calls people. I don't know how he gets anybody's number, but calls people. Well, maybe 45 minutes later, I'm laying in bed, and my dad comes into my room. He's like, well, now you done it. I'm like, what? And he's like, there's a fire truck and like 4 cop cars outside. I'm like, I just saved somebody's life. What happened? You know, I went back outside. I'm asking the fireman. I'm like, I got to write a report myself for the HOA or somebody because I need the information. Comes outside and I'm like, hi, my name's Cammie. I'm your new neighbor. I'm so sorry. We heard the alarm going off, and I saw your car said Mom Life. I just wanted to make sure you were good. And she was like, no, I feel so bad that you just moved in and we're causing all this drama. It was their CO2 detector was going off, which I'm like, girl, you could have been up in there passed out because I never had that kind of poisoning or whatever, but I've heard it's crazy. So she was like, thank you so much for calling. We were out of town. Like, my sister called me and told me that the cops were there because an alarm was going off. And so there wasn't even, it was like malfunctioning. So nothing was even actually going on, but Cammie is on the case always. I'm so sorry for the confusion. Let me clarify. The neighbor is out of town. The alarm's going off, I call, the cops come, knock on the door. They're obviously out of town, so nobody answers. He tells me, I'm gonna see if I can find their phone number. When he calls, he gets a hold of the neighbor's sister. I'm assuming the neighbor's sister calls the neighbor and says, you have an alarm going off. So they drive home. That's that 45-minute period. When they get home and they realize the detector's going off, the cop had left. So they called the fire department, and because in my city, nothing's going on, 4 cops decided to show up too.
Story time of why I'm apparently holding my ex-roommate's dead parents' ashes hostage. And I want you guys to tell me what you would do, okay? So this girl that I thought was one of my best friends moved to Texas, and she was not happy there. She wanted to come back to Alabama. So I had an extra room and a bathroom. I was a single mom at this point. I'm like, girl, yes, come move in. You'll be happy. I'll be happy. I'll get help with the bills. Like, come on. So she left everything behind in Texas, quit her job, moved back to Alabama, was immediately like struggling, late on bills, could never pay rent on time, just could DoorDash breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but never had money for anything else. So I'm going to say the worst part last and start off with like how it happened. So the first time, she stole 15 of my prescription pills, which my doctor will only prescribe them to me. There's 30 of them once every like 3 to 4 months because they are addictive, and he doesn't even like prescribing them to begin with. So she took 15. She didn't lie about it. When I got home and I noticed, which I didn't notice immediately, but like within the week I noticed, she was like, I'm so sorry. Like, she didn't lie. She was like, I really needed them. Our doctor wouldn't prescribe what I take and what you take, and I really need both. I'm going to go see a psychiatrist and get help. Like, I'm so sorry. So that just kind of blew over. The second time, she stole 22. This is when I was like, you gotta fucking go. Like, you can't live in my house. You're stealing from me, which is the crazy part is I've already done so much for her. Like, I've given her so much. She never had to steal from me. So when I went to go, it was a brand new bottle. It had 30 in the bottle. I dropped it and I could hear that it was empty. She was standing outside my bedroom door and I was like, did you take my medicine again? And she said no. And the way she said no, I immediately knew she was lying, but also no one else had been in our house that week except for my kid's father, and he would never steal that from me. We have a great co-parenting relationship. Excuse me. So I immediately knew she was lying. Well, she kept the lie up for like a week. And that was pissing me off more. Like, lying to me versus stealing from me pissed me off more because I knew she did it. So she starts telling everyone at work I was crazy. I was kicking her out for no reason. Her manager and I are friends. Her manager calls me one day and was like, just so you know, she didn't steal your medicine to take it. She's selling it at work. So she was selling my medicine at work. So she's already like packing up her stuff to move out. I told her she had to go. Well, at the end of the week, she came home and I was like, look, I just want you to know you lying to me is pissing me off more than you stealing from me. So you need to be honest. She breaks down, starts crying. I do have this on video. Starts crying, tells me she's sorry. She just needs help. And she just doesn't want anyone to find out that she actually did it. And I'm like, yeah, because you fucking told everybody that I was crazy and you don't want to look like the bad guy. So I'm not going to tell everyone that you did it. You are. You're going to fix this and you're going to make it right. Which, did she? No. So she owes me $3,600 at this point from bills. She went to LA. I bought her plane ticket. Should have never done that. She was late on rent one time or whatever. So $3,600 is what she already owes me. Well, when she left, she stole my son's money. He's 8 years old. He had $1,000 saved up. Only Rachel, my son, and I knew where the money was. So she stole his $1,000. Who steals from a fucking kid? As soon as she moved out, she texted me and was like, hey, I need to go in your storage unit and get my parents' ashes. You're not going in anywhere and getting anything until you pay my son his money back. Like, pay him his money back, and then I probably still wouldn't give him back. Pay me my money back too. She owes so many people money. Pay everyone their money back and then come get your ashes. I truly thought about doing something crazy with them. I'm not even going to lie. When I found out she admitted to stealing his money. But I don't even have it in me to do that. But also, I'm not just going to hand them over to you because I'm never going to get my son his money back. And you're going to pay him his money back. That's not up to me to save up $1,000 to give him. You stole it from him. Who steals from a fucking kid? Anyway, so yeah, let me know what y'all would do, because apparently she's telling everyone in town I'm holding her parents' ashes hostage. And also, she asked me if she could have my storage unit key because she needed to store some stuff in there. So I had never seen her parents' ashes. I didn't even know what they were in until we just cleared my storage unit out like 3 weeks ago. I finally canceled my storage unit, so we got everything out. And my husband was like, oh, here's her parents' ashes. So yeah. Didn't even know what they were in. I had never seen them. She put them in there. Just wanted to clarify. Also, I don't know if I put her name in there. Her name is Rachel Joyner. She is now a manager at a really fine dining restaurant in Auburn called Aricia. It's at the Auburn Hotel. So if you go eat there, tell her that she sucks and that she's a thieving ass bitch.
Story time on how me and my boyfriend got stuck in the mountains and got a gun pulled on us.
We're gonna see. I pray that Damien won't kill me. Please don't kill me. Okay. And it's a blizzard.
My boyfriend and his friends have this bright idea to go snow wheeling. They all have big trucks. They're all country boys, whatever. We get up to the mountain, like the base of the mountain, and it's probably 6. That's our first mistake. I know. So in Washington, 6 is already basically pitch black outside. We get about a quarter of the way up, and I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm like, this is a terrible idea. We're on the side of a cliff.
It's so small, the trucks are barely fitting through. On this side is a massive ditch. On this side is one of the girlfriends of my boyfriend's friends was like, yeah, my mom knows someone who just died here. They fell off the cliff, like, whatever. So I'm tweaking out. I'm like, this is a terrible fucking idea. Immediately, Damien's truck gets stuck in a ditch. Like, okay, first ditch, you know what? Shake it off, it's fine. Then we get stuck every 2 fucking seconds, literally. But can we turn around? No. There's nowhere to turn around. And there's a line of probably 7, 8 trucks behind us. This will come into play later. I was trying so hard to stay calm because I knew I didn't want to freak out Damien, but I could tell Damien was starting to freak the fuck out. And we're getting so stuck to the point we can't get out. So eventually we're like maybe halfway up, maybe a little more, maybe less. And everyone gets stuck. Everyone, including these random strangers that had cars made for the snow. That's how deep the snow was. So we're like, fuck, what do we do? There's no trucks to pull each other out. What do we do? And obviously I don't know anything about what I'm talking about. So I'm sitting there in the truck and I'm like, we're gonna be fine. I'm trying to keep a positive attitude. I'm like, it's fine. Until all the boys start freaking out. And so I'm like, oh no, like, I'm gonna die. This is where I die. This is literally where I die. And they're starting to pull the trucks out manually, like all.
Sorry, Madison, I can't come to work. I'm in the middle of the fucking woods.
The boys and the trucks are starting to slide off the edge. So they would slide and then they would pull back up. And it was so scary. But you know whose truck wasn't moving? Damien's. So probably after 5 hours of getting all the trucks behind us out of the ditch so they could find a way to get around, there's 4 trucks left to get pulled out. One of the guys knows he's gonna be able to get out, so he's helping all of us. The rest of us were fucked. And poor Jaden, my boyfriend's friend, is pulling everyone out. Everyone he pulled out left. So he's stuck. Jaden is stuck with us, who we can't help him, and nobody else who can help either. And Damien's car is so stuck, even like, there's people that are so good with trucks, nobody can get it out. So they're shoveling, they're doing everything they can to get it out. At this point, it's probably 12 in the morning. I have work the next day, so I'm tweaking out. I'm like, I'm fucked. Like, I don't have service. Keep in mind, we do not have service.
Today I'm not jolly anymore. This is fucking cooked.
At this point, everyone turned around and left. So we're fucking stranded. Our only hope is Jaden. And guess where Jaden is? Jaden is stuck on the side of the cliff. His back end is hanging off the fucking cliff. Me and his girlfriend are tweaking out. We're like, oh my god, the truck's gone. Like, we're all dead. We're all dead. Thank God. These random Russians that literally came from the fucking trees, got Jaden's truck off the side of the cliff, like hanging off the side. And then we strapped on to Jaden. Everyone's shoveling Damien's car out. And it's probably been 3 more hours since 12. So it's like 3 in the morning. At this point, I'm thinking that like 911 is coming to save us. Because shouldn't my mom be worried? Like, someone's gotta be worried. Long story short, we finally get Damien's truck out, but off the side. So we're having to go really, really fucking slow. But behind us, probably a mile behind us, are these people. Make it make sense. I don't know. So they're not like that close behind us or anything. We finally get to the bottom. I jump back in Damien's truck. All of a sudden, it's cutting up like crazy. He's trying to hit us from the side. He's going in the other lane, trying to hit us. We're like, what the fuck? Like, this is attempted murder. Like, this is literally attempted murder. Keep in mind, this is unprovoked. Damien's like, what the fuck is going on? The guy, this is very summarized, by the way. The guy gets in front of us. There's probably 4 of them in the car. And he starts shining his, like, I think it's a flashlight. And Damien's like, that's a fucking gun.
He's trying to get out in the middle of the road.
Oh no. And my boyfriend is he's a big, strong man. He knows what to do in these situations, but I don't. So I'm like, oh God. The guy stops his car and starts getting out of the car. And this man moves so fast in his whole life. Damien flips around and fucking speeds like crazy back towards the mountain.
So my boyfriend of 13 years up and left me a week ago, and I've been telling everybody that I'm going to give them a story time about our 13-year-long relationship and why after 13 years I was still a girlfriend and not a wife. So this is our story time. I met him when I was about 20 years old. I had just turned 20 and he was 32. We did not know each other's age at the time. I was a server at a restaurant. We worked at the same restaurant and we were just hanging out, really just partying together. And it really wasn't until about 2 months later when he told me, hey, I kind of have feelings for you, that we discovered how old each other were. But we started dating, like I said, back when I was about 20 years old. And very quickly we entered into addiction together. We were friends before we were a couple, but addiction was introduced into our friendship, relationship, situationship very early on. So a good majority of our relationship was based around addiction and getting high. And the relationship just developed because of that. I do want to make it clear that he did not get me into addiction. I already was dibbling and dabbling in things, partying, however you want to say it, and had sought him out for an item and made him think I knew what said item was. Otherwise, had I been honest with him and been like, oh, I've never, dabbled with that before, he would have been like, no, I'm not going to get that for you. But I made him think I knew what it was. So he got it for me. And very quickly, it became an addiction that was out of control for me. And I couldn't let go of it for my entire 20s. I was in addiction for my entire 20s. Now, I need to be honest and tell you, I liked him in the beginning when he told me that he liked me. I actually was dating somebody else. So when he told me he liked me, I told him, like, I like you too, but I'm seeing this other person. If it doesn't work out, basically, I'll circle the block and I'll holler at you. Well, it didn't work out. I circled the block. I hollered at him, and he was like, oh, I'm coming. And ever since that day, we basically was rolling together, and we was together, and we were a couple. And as our addiction developed together, of course, I wanted to shake it the more that we progressed in life, and we're not gaining things, but we're actually losing things, and only bad things were happening for us, and we were developing trauma. I wanted to shake that and live a good life with him. And I can be honest and think, through the addiction, I would be lying to say if I haven't thought, is he who I really need to be with? Is he who I really want to be with? Is he who God really has for me to be with? But I stayed because I was stuck in the addiction. I'm going to touch on why we didn't get married. People were like 13 years and no ring. I got some rings, but again, I was in addiction, so I sold them. But he would have proposed to me if I was adamant about being proposed to. But from the time I met him, I was always very adamant that I never really concerned myself with getting married. I never really cared about getting married. I always was fine to find my person, be with my person. We have that understanding that we're together. We live our life. We do our thing. If he's adamant that he wants to be married and wants to marry me, then okay, we'll get married. But I was never the one pushing for marriage and desperate for marriage. And even as a young child, I never wanted that. So that's why we never got married. And I guess I could say, well, maybe if he wanted to marry me, that bad, he would have been like, I don't care, you don't want to be married. I want to marry you. I want to make you my wife. But again, you got to remember, we were in addiction as well. We didn't give a damn. So throughout our time, we did have a lot of trauma. In 2017, unfortunately, I chose to have a word, however you say it. I don't want to say it like however you say it. I know how to say it. I just don't want to say the word. But I chose to have an A, and that was the biggest mistake of my life. I never should have made that decision. Even being in addiction, I made a permanent decision in a moment of temporary fear, and I regret it every day. I never should have done it. But I did that. The addiction was trauma on top of it, then having the A was trauma on top, so I'm just piling like trauma on myself during this relationship. He's doing things as well that are piling on trauma into the relationship. A couple of years ago, we were living, his parents had passed away. We sold their house. We got some money. Again, we were deep, heavy in addiction at this point. So that money, we got us a place to stay. We got a house. We paid the lease up for a year, but we ran out of money in like 6 months. And, we didn't have anything. So of course we started letting people live with us that shouldn't have been living with us, and stuff was just going from bad to worse to shitty and helly super freaking quick. Ended up, the house lease ran out and we had no money, nowhere to go. We were actually going to go on the streets because I felt at that point I'd lived in addiction for over 10 years. How in the world do I call my family and ask them to rescue me yet again when I haven't even talked to them in like 6 months? But he, behind my back, called my grandma and told her what was going on and asked her to at least come get, Whitney. You don't have to get me, but just come get her. But my grandma was like, I'm not gonna not, help you two. I'll help both of y'all. So we both went into rehab. I didn't stay at my rehab. I ended up leaving, but he stayed and completed it and then transferred into a sober living facility and was living there for about a year and was doing really good, but felt like he couldn't make any progress there or had made the progress that he was going to be able to make there because, being a part of that program, there's a lot of like restriction on you. You have to do programs, you have to go to certain things, and it just was becoming a lot, and it was getting difficult for him to maintain that, a relationship and a full-time job. So it was better that he come live here with my grandma if she allowed, and she allowed. So we've been living here for a while, trying to save money and things like that. We did set ourselves back a little bit, taking that trip to Mexico, but that was understood that we put ourselves back at square one. So it is what it is. But these last 3 weeks, I've been really in a mood, and I can admit that because I had an issue with my car, and I knew that they weren't going to take me serious. I had asked my boyfriend to go with me because I wanted his male presence to be there and to help me and to basically not let these people not take me serious. And when he was there, I just didn't feel like he did what I needed him to do as a man at that moment to step up for me and defend me. And I told him, I just feel like you really let me down. And this is multiple times, throughout the relationship that I feel like he's let me down. And sometimes I don't know if he wants to step up to be the type of man that I need him to be and I want him to be. So I can admit that I've held on to a lot of resentment from that. And I've been from our past, and I've been honest with him and told him like, hey, look, I've got resentment that I don't know how to let go of. I want to let go of it, but I don't know how to let go of it. And he was telling me, basically that I've just been so mean to him lately and have made him feel like I don't want him to be there. And I felt bad about that because I was just feeling trapped at that time, not trapped with him, but just trapped in general, because I'm just so desperate for the good of our lives and for things to change and for the change to stick and for the good to be permanent that I'm ready for it now, and I just want to start seeing him making those little changes. And I guess I can admit that he's made changes that I've overlooked and I haven't taken into account, and that I do feel bad about. But when I came home, we actually had a date planned on Monday. I went to get my hair done. I came home and all his shit was packed. I'm thinking we're going to be going on our date, but he's got his shit packed up and he's like, we need to talk. And that's when he starts telling me, the way you've been, not talking to me these last 3 weeks have really made me feel unwelcomed, and like you don't want me to be here, and like you don't want me here, and like I'm in the way. He was like, I feel like I'm maneuvering around all three of y'all and things like that. He was saying, that he doesn't get good sleep here, which I understand that. He just said that his mental doesn't feel right, which I understood that, but I was just really frustrated that he didn't communicate this with me at all and give me the chance to try to work through it. I just came home and the decision was made that this is what it is. It's thrown in my face and you have to accept it, Okay, y'all, so this is part 2. I don't really remember everything I said in part 1. I'm just talking freely and letting it flow, so I know it's a little all over the place. If you have questions, you can ask me. I'll answer them. I'm an open book. I don't care. But anyway, so my grandma, basically rescued us from the streets of hell that we were about to encounter and let us come here. We went to our rehab. I left my rehab. He finished his, transferred into the sober living facility, found out that I was pregnant. Okay, found out I was pregnant. was actually very excited about it. Was nervous in the beginning, but once my grandma found out about it, was upset, but then accepted it and was like, you know, screw it. It's happening. We got to just make it do what it do. I started getting excited about it, and he seemed scared, but happy, you know, like, you know, maybe we could have waited a little longer, but hey, we've talked about it all these years. We say we wanted it. It's happening. Let's rock with it. So, found out I was pregnant, and then actually what happened was that I called the OB I'd been going to, just getting my body checked out for recovery, to let them know that I had found out I was pregnant and I needed to make an appointment. Well, the appointment that I had gone in for was for something else that also I had made the appointment for, and when I had gone to check in, she just had mentioned for that. She didn't say anything about the pregnancy, and I had mentioned to her why I found out I was pregnant. I wanted to get that checked up as well. She told me we don't see anything regarding the pregnancy, and that really pissed me off because I was like, ma'am, I made that appointment. I've got the paperwork right here in my hand from the hospital that's downstairs telling me I'm pregnant, whatever. So they ended up checking, being like, we'll look at it. Well, the doctor, when she came in, she wasn't going to do anything and check me for the pregnancy, and I was adamant, and I think she could see my little ghetto self was like, look, lady, get that little thing over there and put it right here, squeeze that stuff and check something. So she got her little Doppler thing out and started checking, and the face, bro, I'm gonna tell y'all, the face that she made, the way I'm not an idiot, I'm 32 years old, I know what that thing's supposed to sound like. As soon as you put it on, you hear that I was just hearing and she was like, how far along did you say that you were? Did they say you were? Okay, well, we need to, we're going to do go ahead and do an ultrasound. I was like, shouldn't you have been doing that in the first damn place? But okay, whatever. Get in that ultrasound room. She puts the thing on. And again, this is my second pregnancy, okay? My second pregnancy. I know what like I was supposed to see on that screen. I didn't make it far in the pregnancy, so I don't know much, but I do know what that screen's supposed to say, and that screen was uterus just there, and that little bean wasn't like blinking. It was just, you know what I mean? I could just tell. I was like, yeah. And she said, what I'm seeing, I can't speak on it at this time. I'm gonna have to ask you to step back out into the waiting room. Mind you, my boyfriend was with me at this appointment. It was my boyfriend and my grandma, because we were excited, thinking, okay, this sorry, my grandma came outside and ruined the flow of my video. Anywho, so yeah, she's like, you know, I'm gonna have you wait outside. And like I was saying, my boyfriend and grandma were with me at this appointment because we were excited to see the baby. So he's like, the first appointment, I want to go. So he was in the room with me at the sonogram. He wasn't in there with the little voice, the little heartbeat thing, but the Doppler, but he was in there with me at the sonogram. And I looked at him, and he looked confused because, of course, he doesn't know what he's looking at. And the face that I was giving him, I was telling him telepathically, like, ain't nothing there no more. Like, it's nothing's there. And she's like, I gotta consult with the doctor and we'll call you back in. And he's like, what's going on? I was like, trying so hard to hold the tears, and I was like, I'll tell you when we get out there. And I texted him and was like, there's the baby's like, no more, it's not viable anymore. Because when we were in the room, I told him about the Doppler thing. I was like, in the doctor's face, she was like, if you're at a month, I should be hearing something. I'm not hearing anything. You know, she was using medical verbiage to basically say, like, the baby's not viable anymore. So I told him that, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I'll never forget his face, the way it dropped. Like, he looked like devastated when I said that. He did. He was like, you know, shit, it was supposed to be happening, and like, now it's not happening. We go back into the room to do the sonogram. Bruh, they do a vaginal sonogram, right, to confirm. And she puts it in, and again, it's nothing. Like, I can see it, it's nothing. And it's not in maybe like 5 seconds, 10 seconds at the most, and she pulls it back out, and her first words are, I'm so sorry to say. And then, of course, I just busted out into tears crying, and she was like, she said something like the heartbeat's no longer detectable, making the baby no longer viable, something like that, some, you know, medical terminology that's supposed to, you know, help make it not as devastating for you. But I was like, shut up, lady, I already knew. I want to go home. Of course, they gave me a pill to open the floodgates and, you know, clean me out. If this is TMI, y'all, I'll put a trigger warning way before, so y'all don't have to listen to this. But it was very, 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 traumatic for me. And I won't get into everything that I experienced when I got home regarding it, but again, it was very traumatic. But at that time, we had started talking when I found out we were pregnant, and that month we had started talking, or like a month and a half, started talking about marriage again, and even had gone to our church and asked them what are the steps that we need to take in order to get married here at the church. So again, you can see how all of this was a shock to me. All the life that we've lived together, how it was a shock. And something else a few months later had occurred, but I'm not going to speak on it because, yeah, this is all our private information, but I just feel like this is too much to share. If I was to share it, y'all, I'm not going to hold y'all. This video would go, I know it would go viral, but again, it's our personal information, and I just don't feel comfortable sharing this particular detail because it's private. But just know there was another issue that occurred about a year ago, a little bit before, actually last summer, that was another added trauma and another hit and another thing that I would like to release and let go of, but it's just resentment that I'm still holding on to. So that's just like a small encompassing of our 13-year relationship. And those are just little like bits that I wanted to add in. Oh, and another little thing I probably forgot to add in is that at the beginning of this year, we had even started talking again about trying to have a baby. Now, it was just a little fluke moment. I was just in the moment, desperate for a baby. But I told him, I was like, we should try 3 times, and if nothing happens, then we can stop. Bro, I'm not gonna kid you. We tried for like maybe 2-3 months, and nothing happened because God's timing's not ready. And I finally realized that I was like, we're not in the right ready place, so I need to put that on hold because that would actually cause more trauma and turmoil to us now than if we just waited a few more years. So I let that go. But that's just another thing that added. I'm like, this is the life that we were planning. And I do need to say, when he was leaving and everything, he wasn't using the verbiage of this is over, this is the end. But I could just tell that this was him breaking up with me without breaking up with me, because he wasn't using the words, I still want you, I still want us, I still want to be together, I still want our future. He just kept saying, I still want you in my life, I still want you in my life. And then, y'all, when he was getting into that Uber, the way that he put his arm around my neck and kissed me on the forehead and was looking at me, I've seen enough rom-coms to know that this is you saying goodbye without saying goodbye. And then, y'all, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, in the moment when we had our little 3-hour talk, the poor man kept trying to leave, and I was like, sit the fuck back down, we're still gonna talk about this. Bro, I wanted to slap the shit out of him so bad. I ended up slapping myself at one point. I was so angry. I was like, he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm hitting myself because I want to hit you. Like, it just was a lot. It was just a lot. But I'm sure there's more about the relationship that I'm going to think about here in a minute, and I'll make another part to the video and add it on and do a part 3.
So you exclusively like women and not men, and if you were to consider getting married, you would only consider getting married to a woman.
My friend stole thousands of dollars from my 401k, which I didn't even know was possible. So let me let you know how she did that so it doesn't happen to you. Okay, so first thing, let me just let you guys know kind of like high level what a 401k is. Basically, when you're employed by a company, you are able to set aside pre-tax money to go into basically like a retirement account that is sort of overseen by the government, and it's in possession of a financial institution, and they can make investments with that money, and you can gain wealth for your retirement based off of this pre-tax money that you have set aside from your paycheck. It's money that you earned. It is your actual money. You just don't have access to it until you retire. So that's what a 401k is, basically. The transfer of the money from your paycheck to the 401k account is handled by the institution of which you are employed. In my case, I was employed by a friend. This is somebody who I was very close with, who I had spent holidays with, who I had introduced to my family, had been at my parents' house. And after the fact, I became her employee. It was a very small company. There were 3 or 4 of us. We were consultants. So she basically would take the money out of my account as my employer, and then transfer it to my 401k account. And then that 401k would be managed by that financial institution. And when I retired, I would have access to it. So a few years ago, one of my coworkers, who was also an employee, let me know that his 401k, the amount in his 401k, did not match the deductions that had been made from his paycheck. And I was like, okay, well, that makes 0 sense. You should ask our boss. And I'm sure there is a logical explanation for this, because in my head, like, I don't know, this just, like, her taking the money never crossed my mind. So he reached out to her, and she said that the interim account, so the account from when, like, the bank account that belonged to the company, that the money was kind of passed through before it went into our 401ks, had been hacked, and that there had been fraud on the account, and it was frozen. And so she was working with Chase, and that once Chase basically released that, once Chase cleared the fraud and released that money, she was going to deposit it into our 401k. So he was right. The amounts did not add up. And so I told him, like, okay, like, see, that's not, that's a logical explanation. Don't worry about it. There's a few things that I did wrong here throughout this whole story, and I'm going to be honest about those. The first thing is that while you can't spend any of the money in your 401k, you should be checking it. I just kind of let it go. Like, I maxed it out. I took the max amount of money I could out of my paycheck, and I let it go to the 401k, and I kind of just trusted that whatever was happening with it was on the up and up. So that was my first mistake, is that I was not checking it. So that happened, and I mean, I was satisfied with the answer. He was satisfied with the answer. And we went about our business. And then I guess a year or so later, maybe 2 years, I'm going to have to check the time frame on this. But in 2024, on like the 18th or 19th of October, she let us know that she was going to be closing the company, and that our last paycheck was going to be October 31st. So we had about 2 weeks before we were going to be basically unemployed, no benefits, et cetera, et cetera. I alerted my money manager that I did have this outstanding 401k that he was going to have to take control over and take control of and combine it with the rest of my money. So I alerted him to that, and he said that was a really simple process. We would usually you can do it online. You can just log in, check a box, transfer it, and it's done. Another thing I did was I procrastinated and didn't do that for a while. So it was about April of 2025 before I kind of got my shit together and was ready to transfer the money. I log back in, and now there's a new error, and the error says that my account is frozen and I need to reach out to them directly. So I reach out to them directly, and they let me know that my account is frozen. They did not know when it was going to be unfrozen, but that I did not have access to the money. I couldn't move it because there were discrepancies and fraud on the account. They said that it had been years since deposits had been made into the account from my paycheck. So there have been years where hundreds of dollars a month were being taken from my paycheck and not deposited into the 401k, and also not taxed. It's very important to this story that the money was not taxed, because you don't play with the IRS, and I find that out. So they were like, yeah, you can't do anything with this account. Like, there's a case open with the IRS. There's a case open with the Department of Labor. And I'm like, okay, well, where did the money go? Like, And they said that they had been in contact for many months with my former employer, former friend, and that she was well aware of this and that she had been cooperative with them for a while. But since October of 2025, she basically went ghost on them and they hadn't heard from her. And so they had to escalate the case. So there were 2 cases open with the Department of Labor because she was aware that they had found out that the money was missing, but she disappeared and stopped responding to them. They told me that there really wasn't much that I could do and that I just kind of had to wait for them to basically track down the money, or track her down at this point, because they could not get in contact with her. The part about the IRS is important to this story because last year I got a letter from the IRS saying that I had underreported my income, which I thought was really odd at the time. Another error that I made is that I did not follow up with the IRS because I was just like, I didn't underreport my income. Like, I am super organized and I know how much I made. Like, I filled out what I got from my W-2. Clearly I didn't underreport my income. What they were referencing was the fact that I made X amount of dollars and that money was not showing up in the 401k. And so I owed taxes on the money that was stolen from me. Yes, I owe the IRS taxes on money that was stolen from me from my friend. Follow for, I guess, part 2, or don't follow, just stick around.
I just think the Democrats wake up every morning, Emily, and they look at the calendar. The iPhone says January 6, 2021. The date never changes. And then they get an electric vehicle and go get an abortion.
Okay, so part 2 of my friend stealing my retirement money and how it happened. Before I finish the story, I just want to give you guys a little background. And by you guys, I mean I have 20 followers on this account, which is part of why I'm even comfortable telling the story. I have really bad anxiety, and I think that's part of the reason why I handled everything the way that I handled it and why I've been quiet about it for so long. My mom died 2 months before my 8th birthday, and I just have a lot of PTSD and anxiety, social anxiety. So I ramble over my words, which you probably noticed if you tuned into part 1, and I have a lot of issues with conflict and conflict resolution. I hate conflict and I hate drama. So when I found this out about my friend, I know most people would have just gone off and blew up the entire friend group, but the way that my brain works, I kind of just kept to myself. I didn't want to cause any issues. I didn't want to cause a ton of drama in my friend group because I take my friendships and the peace that I found in my friendships really, really seriously. So I didn't really say anything when I found out about it. I didn't let any of our friends know, and I kind of just took a step back and was quiet. I wrongly assumed that I could just handle this situation myself. I could handle everything between me and the person who stole from me, and I didn't need to involve anybody else. And that was a very wrong assumption. This person ended up isolating me from my friend group, and I lost a lot of friends in the process of it because I allowed them to kind of control the narrative. And by the narrative, I don't mean that she told them that she stole from me. I'm not sure that they even know that to this day. Again, I only have 20 something followers on this account, so and this is the first that I'm talking about it, so I don't think anybody in my friend group knows. She sent when I started ignoring her, which I did, I just was a recluse and I just stopped responding to her text messages. I didn't let her know that I knew she stole the money. I just kind of stopped responding to her directly. She sent a text message in the group chat, in our friend group chat, and was like, there are people in this group chat that have a problem with me, so I'm leaving the chat. And so she left the chat, and I guess they started their own I guess they started their own group chat because I was being a bitch and not really talking to her. I was talking to everybody else, but I guess the way that she spun it was that I had some sort of problem with her and she had no idea why I had a problem with her, and kind of cut me off from the friend group. And I just sort of took it because that's just who I am as a person. Like, I really, really hate conflict. And so this is the first that I'm talking about it. And that is a little bit of why I went about it the way that I did. That's also probably why she was able to get away with taking the money from me for so long, because of my anxiety. If I have like anxious feelings or I get like a bad feeling about something, I kind of, through therapy, have like taught myself that 9 times out of 10 my brain is lying to me. My brain is always presuming that there's a threat when there isn't a threat. Like, I have a problem sometimes leaving my house to go check the mail. So I was constantly telling myself, like, don't make an issue where there is no issue. And so I let it go on for a long time, and I avoided, if something feels stressful to me, I avoid it versus confronting it head on, because confronting it head on is anxiety inducing. So I didn't look into my retirement funds. I didn't double check my pay stubs. I didn't look into things the way that I should have, or I didn't comb through things the way that I should have, because I felt like it was anxiety inducing to me. And my anxiety is so bad. I'm medicated for it, but my anxiety is so bad that I kind of turn into a recluse. So I if I don't confront something, that means it's not happening, and I can kind of go about my day and my life in my form of peace. So before I finish the story, I just wanted to say that that is probably why this went on for so long, because I, until now, have not spoken about it. And I just kind of didn't want to confront it. I didn't pay attention, because paying attention means that things will be uncomfortable, and I'm already uncomfortable all the time. And so I didn't want to make more discomfort. So I think that that is worth noting. And then I'll finish the story.